Hey there, Ravenclan and friends. This is a Dwarf Fortress tutorial. In this tutorial, we are going to go over workshops. So in today's tutorial, we're gonna we're gonna go ahead and make sure that we can cover up our little hole here. What we can go into is we can assign many different workshops around here. I'm gonna put the workshops around our little stockpile right here, because I'm going to also build a little cubic square to protect our little hobbit hole here. Obviously, this is all tutorial, and I usually like to make things a little bit more intricate. But for starts, let's just go with this. Now, I like to put down a stoneworker, a carpenter shop, go into our farming, which farming is all food related, put down a still, go into farming again, put down a kitchen, go back into workshops, and put down a craft shop. Now, we're also going to need a mechanic shop. Now that they're built, we have our stoneworker workshop. In the workshop screen, we have task, workers who's going to be working on the task, and work orders. This is what you can play around with once you get a manager. Work orders are fantastic. Up here, you can link a stockpile to it, so we can have a, we can click this button to only take from a stockpile, or only give to a stockpile, or only take from a stockpile. So, we're going to only take from this stockpile. Stockpile 1, which you can also rename into stockpile screen. Let's go back to tasks. Hit done. Go back to tasks. Add new task. We're going to go ahead and add a task for hatch cover. And we're going to make 4 of them, which you can make this a little bit easier, done a little bit easier in the work order screen, instead of having to go between these multiple times. Or when it comes to the task that you don't already have work orders set to them, you can hit repeat indefinitely, which you'll just make infinite amounts. You can make it a highest priority, or you can raise it up the priority screen. Your doors will do the first one, then the second one, then the third one, and so on and so forth. You can also go into this little magnifying glass and tell it what kind of material you want it to be made out of. Which we have 20 claystone, so we're just going to say claystone hatch cover. Now it's going to do that anyways for the rest of them. We do have bit and miss coal, which we don't want to use the bit and miss coal for our hatch covers, because we're going to be using that for forges later. And the X is just, obvious to get rid of it. Down here is what's in the inventory of this particular workshop. You go up here, we also have the name and removing of the building, so on and so forth. We're going to make these hatch covers. Next, we have the Carpenter Workshop. The Carpenter Workshop allows you to do all sorts of things. You can have display cases, which you need glass for, making beds, traps, different types of mechanisms like the wooden corkscrew for pumps, which we'll go over in another tutorial, as well as bins, buckets, and so on and so forth. We're going to go ahead and make a bunch of buckets and bins and barrels. We're going to put those on repeat. We don't need a whole lot of buckets, but we need a few of them. We need at least 4 of them to make the things that we want to make. We don't have a lot of wood, so I'm going to go ahead and chop down some wood. In the next screen, we have the still. Here in the still, we can make plants out of drinks. I'll go over stills and kitchens in a later episode. This is also where you can make mead and extract from plants. And the Craft Dwarf Workshop, your crafts are where you actually make a lot of your money. You can use these 4 options right here. You can go into rock, type in crafts, and when you hit crafts, it'll actually make amulets, bracelets, crowns, earrings, figurines, rings, scepters, and so on and so forth. It'll make all of those infinitely, randomly, and that will be how you make up a lot of your trade. I highly suggest doing this very early on, and it gives your dwarves something to do, because they happen to really enjoy making crafts. I'm also going to be playing around with some hives, so I'm going to make a few hives. Now, as far as workshops goes, that is it for workshops. Now, you can go into magma forges and everything, but that's a little bit more complicated. We'll go into that in a later episode. In fact, we may not be able to do that for a little while because it takes a little while for magma. Anyways, that is it for this tutorial. If you like this tutorial and you want to see more like this, do consider liking, subscribing, and let me know down in the comments what you liked or disliked about this tutorial. I'll see you guys in the next one.